Let's call the meeting to order for the Winfield Fire Protection District. This special meeting. To take this off, I'd like to open the floor to any public comment. Is there anyone from the public who would like to ask a question? Is there anyone asking a question?
No, nobody has raised their hand.
Good. All right, sounds good. First topic of business: discuss and take action on resolution 2021. We're drawing the resolution.
We're supposed to do pledge and the roll call. I mean, are we
President Clayton.
Yes.
Secretary Seth.
Yes.
Treasurer Kraus.
present?
Trustee Sale.
Here.
Also President Attorney Weiler and Chief Evans.
All right. Withdrawing the resolution from the spring ballots. Bernie, can you give us a little synopsis on what happened here?
Yeah, here's what happened is that we have on prior occasions had subsequent referendum in back-to-back elections. However, each one of those actually did have a different rate. Okay, and so what we did is we did because we were really focused on the fact that the assessed valuation hadn't changed so that we could go forward with the same proposition. But in essence, it would violate the provision of the election code that says that on the question can only be proposed once per calendar year. Okay, so the proposition that said should our limiting rate be 6.9 was the same as the previous one. Now we're asking that our limiting rate actually be different. So it's sort of like negotiating with the voters. Okay, do you like 6.9? No. Okay. How about 6.8? How about 6.7? So those are different propositions. So we need to withdraw that proposition. What would happen if we did not is that it would be subject to objection. Okay, and then we would not, and the objection period does not end or does not begin until the time for filing a new resolution begins. So if we didn't withdraw it, then we would have an objection and we would not have time to do it. Okay, so that's what this process is about.
I make a motion we
questions,
withdraw
trustees?
resolution 2021 R100.
I have a second.
I'll support that.
Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All righty. Roll call, vote, right?
Roll call.
President Clayton.
Yes.
Secretary Seth.
Yes.
Treasurer Kraus.
Yes.
Trustee Sale. Yes.
All right, second item is discuss and take action on the resolution 2021 R112 to conduct a limiting rate referendum. To give a little bit of a quick, I'm going to ask Chief Evans to go a little bit more into the inside baseball on this. This limited rate referendum is for a different rate, but in the end, it's the same or roughly the same dollar number. As we all know, every year as the EAV changes, the rates change to equal those dollar numbers. So what Chief Evans has done has looked in his crystal ball, estimated what the next EVA change is going to be, and based that rate on that estimated EVA. So Chief, can you give us a little bit more information on that?
Thank you, Mr. President. You answered most of it, actually. So included in the package is cover memo,
which goes into some detail on the particulars. Going back to Attorney Weiler's point about the fact that the same rate, even though the EAV is unchanged, the EAV will not be adjusted by the county until sometime in late spring after the election date, which was why the original determination was made. So understanding that in all of this, why is the rate what it is, why are the taxes what they are, and all of that, there are several elements that are involved in this. Now, an agency like us, this is how much money we need for the operation that we need to run. That amount of money then works into a formula with your equalized assessed valuation, or EAV. In the case of Winfield, that's approximately $714 million. That is taxable property within our fire protection district. And similarly, other neighboring agencies, Carroll Stream's at just under $1.5 billion. Warrenville is at $641 million. West Chicago's at $938 million. So basically, this is the amount of money we need to run the operation that we need to run. When you figure that against what your equalized assessed valuation, or EAV, is, that will arrive you to a limiting rate. Now, going back to when PTEL, or the tax cap, was passed, we didn't run as many calls as we do today by a wide margin. We were in hundreds of calls as opposed to thousands like we run now. Things were different. Our staffing situation was different. In fact, when the tax cap was passed, we didn't have around-the-clock staffing. So all of those things figured in. So at the time when that was passed, our EAV was naturally lower. So was our need for financial support to support the operation. So that's when the tax cap was passed, that was where we were set, as opposed to a lot of other agencies, which either raised their rate in anticipation of the tax cap taking effect, or were at a higher rate and grew with it. So understanding with PTEL, or the tax cap, how it works is it's actually based on the amount of money that you receive. So, for example, if we were getting $1 million in tax money and consumer price index, or CPI, was at 2%, that would be the amount of increase. So 2% of $1 million would be $20,000. So that we moved from 1 million to $1,020,000, compared to a $10 million, an agency that had $10 million in taxes, where that 2% increase would translate, instead of $20,000, into $200,000. So you see how you would naturally continue to fall back if you're one of those lower, either lower in terms of your taxable property or lower in your rate. And in that case, back then, we were both. So that's how this is all figured. And that's why there's a variety of different factors that go into it. How do you arrive at that rate? Why? At the end of the day, for the administrators of the agencies, you do your analysis of this is the type of operation we need to have to serve our residents the way we need to. The service demands based on call volume, types of calls, resources that respond to those calls, and all of that. And then everything else works through this formula to arrive there. So with all of that said, we took this opportunity to go back and do a 5-year study of our equalized assessed valuation, our EAV, and took the median increase in EAV from year to year to year over that 5-year span, which was approximately 3.86% annually. So we applied that 3.86% to our current EAV to arrive at an anticipated EAV for the 2020 year, which would mean taxes are payable in 2021. So using that and that new EAV number, still with roughly the same amount of money that we need for the operation that we need, we then did the calculation and we arrived at the rate of 0.6469, which is how we arrived, where we arrived, and why we arrived there.
Any questions, Chief, on the thought processes of how we came about that number?
When you did that, you apply that rate to the current EAV to get this number here. Yeah, to get this number, which will then yield, will actually yield a higher number once if the anticipated valuation goes
That is
up.
correct. For the purposes of this,
And this is
it has to be applied
just
to our
for
EAD.
the
as it
current
says.
EAD. Yeah.
The anticipated increase, which we may or may not realize.
Would bring us to the same amount of money that we've been advocating for that reason. Thank you for the clarification.
Yes. As to whether there would be a full rate guarantee.
Yeah, based on historical averages, yes.
Right, but it's not a guess as to where we go. If we're off a little bit up or a little bit down, but nothing is significant.
Not enough to impact our strategic planning. That's correct.
Motion to,
Motion to pass the resolution 2021 R101 to conduct the limited rating referendum.
Do I have a second?
Support that?
Robin, please call the roll.
Trustee Lightgev.
yes.
Secretary Stats.
Yes.
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 Thank you very much.
Want to open up to any more questions?
What's that, George?
Any more questions from the?
Maybe we can open up to questions again for any of the residents watching, if any of them have any questions on what. So if you have a question, hit your raise your hand feature. We can, you can ask your question if you like. Thank you very much. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Good night.
That seems to be number one.
Yeah.